This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie. How you guys like my Stars and Stripes Forever banjo? Actually, it's the Starry Night banjo. Hey you guys, Johnny Banjo with the Banjo-phile. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you liked my take on This Land Is Your Land. Bit of a razzmatazz version. Not sure it fits Woody Guthrie's vision of the song, but that's kind of how it popped into my head. There's a link in the description to the tablature for that arrangement. I do consider that to be intermediate level. It just contains various techniques that are a little bit beyond the beginner level, such as double thumbing and drop thumb and brush strokes on the first beat of the measure, and most importantly, the syncopation, that ba ba da ba da that's going on throughout the whole song. That's achieved with a technique called a skip note. None of these techniques are terribly difficult. They're just a little bit beyond the beginner level. So that's the intermediate arrangement. Even though it sounds simple, it's a little beyond the beginner level. So I'm also going to put a link in the description to a beginner level version of that song. Because to be clear, This Land Is Your Land is a good song for beginners to learn and practice. It's a simple melody. It's a very familiar melody. It uses only 3 simple basic chords. The first chords that you learn as a banjo player: G, C, and D7. Pretty much the only chords I know. Yeah, it fits the basic bum diddy pattern really well. And when it's played that way, it sounds really good. It feels like you're playing, real music that you can entertain people with. There is going to be a link in the description to a beginner's level arrangement of that as well. All right, so I'm not going to run through a note-by-note tutorial. You guys can read the tablature. But I do want to review just a couple of points. One minor point, in the 5th measure, there's a slide on the 4th string, and that is not meant to be done like a normal slide is done. So a normal slide, you sound the starting note, and then you slide into the ending note, or starting pitch and ending pitch. And those 2 pitches should have about equal emphasis. You want to hear both of them. And that's how all the rest of the slides are in this arrangement. So say in the 3rd measure, you have a slide on the 3rd string, and it goes like this. So you want to hear both the starting pitch and the ending pitch. But in the 5th measure, on the 4th string, rather than do that, all I want you to do is quickly just slide into the G. I don't want you to hear the E, and that's because it's simulating a vocal scoop is what it's doing. It's just sliding into the G, and that's because the E is not part of the melody at that point, and it's not part of the harmony either. So if you hear that, if you do the slide correctly like this, it's not going to sound right. Instead, I want you to just do this. So you just hear it sliding into the G. Oop, I missed it there. The other point that I want to mention is these mystery parenthetical notes that you'll see throughout the tablature. If you're not familiar with skip notes. If you are familiar, great, those are skip notes. But if you're not familiar with what you do for those parenthetical notes, those are the skip notes, and you do not play them. They're notated in the tablature, but you don't play them. Technically, I could have notated those as rests, and that probably would have been more technically correct, but it's not helpful to do that because it doesn't show quite what's going on. And what's going on with this is you are not at all altering the clawhammer stroke. You are not modifying the clawhammer stroke, and that's being emphasized by actually notating the skip note to show you that yes, your hand is still striking even when that rest is there, so that you're not changing the clawhammer stroke. So those skipped notes, what they do is they achieve the syncopation. They achieve that bop, ba-da, ba-da rhythm that you're hearing. So it sounds like this. And if you're, if you were to actually play that skip note, the rhythm pattern becomes bum diddy bumpa diddy. So it's as if the second half of the measure was double thumbed. So bum diddy bumpa diddy, and you're probably familiar with that pattern. But with the skip note, it becomes bum diddy a diddy, bum diddy a diddy, instead of bum diddy bumpa diddy, bum diddy a diddy. And that gives it that syncopated feel to it, and it also emphasizes the fifth string note that is coming in its regular place on the upbeat. But now, because it's not preceded by a downbeat like it usually is, it's getting extra emphasis. So the way that the skip note is played is, like I said, you continue to do the clawhammer stroke. You continue to come down. You do not break the pattern of the clawhammer stroke. So with the skip note, you continue to do the strike, but you don't actually strike any strings, which sounds easy. It's a lot harder than it sounds because the muscle memory wants to make you strike a string. That's what you normally do every time you come down with the strike of the clawhammer stroke. You normally either strike a single string or you do a brush, but you're normally striking strings. And with the skip note, you're not striking anything. That's harder to do than you might think it is. Because it's contrary to the muscle memory that you've been building up. So if I were to do the skip note, starting in the first beat of the second measure, there's a bum diddy, and then the skip note. So I just bring my hand down, and I've rotated my hand outward. This is just something I do, so that only my thumb is catching, and then I'm thumbing the fifth string on the upbeat as I normally would, and then doing the ditty that comes after that. So it's, again, oops, missed the note there. So if you're having trouble wrapping your head around this idea of skip notes, let's try this. Let me walk you through it. Let's start by doing just some bum ditties. Just on the first string. Don't do any brushes. Presumably you could do that just fine. Okay, now let's alternate bum ditties with double thumbed bum ditties. So bum ditty with a bumper ditty, a double thumbed bum ditty. Just alternate them. Okay, now once you've got that down, now just do the bum-diddy, bump-a-diddy, but on the bump-a-diddy, omit the bump. That's the skip note. Executing the skip note is one place where having good clawhammer technique becomes really important. Because if you have sloppy, and when I say good technique, I specifically mean that you have an established habit of every time you strike, every time you come down with the clawhammer stroke, you are engaging the thumb with the fifth string. So whether you're striking a single string, whether it's the first string or one of the inner long strings, no matter what string you're striking with that with your striking finger, you're always engaging the fifth string simultaneously with your thumb. That's good clawhammer technique. Or even if you're doing a brush, you're always catching your thumb on the fifth string every time you execute the stroke. When you engage with the thumb, one thing that's doing is it's anchoring you. It's giving you a spatial reference point. Every time your thumb hits that string, you know where you are in three-dimensional space, and it helps you be accurate in striking the strings. If you're not doing that, you're basically pecking at the strings. And you could get good at doing that and not relying so much on your thumb to give you the spatial reference as striking the string gives you your spatial reference. So I can do that. I can consistently strike the string I want, even without thumbing the fifth string, because the strike itself is giving me a spatial reference. Now, when I try to execute a skip note, what happens is suddenly I'm not striking a string. And so I'm not getting the spatial reference anymore. Now I'm likely to lose my spatial reference if my technique is not good, if my technique is sloppy in that way and I'm not engaging the fifth string. So it's particularly important with the skip note that you have good clawhammer technique and that you are engaging the fifth string with every stroke. So the skip note technique adds a lot of fun to your music. It's a great way to just break up the bum-diddy pattern, add a little syncopation, little unexpected feel to your music. And I use it sometimes in my arrangements, especially with songs that are a little slower, that have long half notes or rests in the melody to do the fill. So rather than using bum ditties to fill, I might use skip notes to fill. It's just an artistic decision. Some people like to use lots of alternate string pull-offs to do that same fill. So if you're not familiar with skip notes, here's a fun opportunity to get a lot of practice with this particular arrangement, because I've used it a lot for all those sustained notes and throughout This Land Is Your Land. So I hope you like that arrangement, and I hope you have fun with it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.